Okay, hey guys, we're going to be doing our next lesson, and I will warn you this lesson is a little bit harder than the last one. So please make sure you're taking really good notes and you are ready to work. Okay, so our objectives today, we're going to factor a quadratic trinomial when a does not equal 1. Okay, so remember quadratic trinomial, we've been looking at ax squared plus bx plus c. But the last lesson, we just looked at what happened when we had x squared plus bx plus c. Now we're going to put a number in front of the x squared. Okay, so a little bit different. So 7, 6, we are factoring ax squared plus bx plus c. And remember, I teach this differently than the book does and some of the websites that you can use. I will be able to tell if you are not doing it the way I teach. Okay, so we are going to start with looking at the problem 3x cubed plus 15x squared minus 18x. Now, last lesson we didn't talk about this at all, but before that, we spent a lot of time on the GCF of polynomials. So our first rule of factoring, whenever we see a polynomial, we should first always look to see if there's a GCF. Okay, first rule, check for a GCF. Well, I have a GCF here. 3x cubed, 15x squared, 18x. Well, jumping out at me is they all have an x. Okay, so they definitely have at least an x in common. Okay, notice what else goes into 3, 15, and 18. 3 goes into all of those. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull out 3x. Okay, so what times 3x gives me 3x cubed? Well, it's 1, right? 3 times 1 is 3. If I take one of those x's away, I have 2 left. So my answer is x squared. Okay, what times 3x gives me 15x squared? Well, 3 times 5, and x times x, so 5x. 3x times what gives me negative 18x? Well, 3 times negative 6 gives me negative 18. I have 1x and I took it away, so I don't need any more x's. Okay, so our first step here is to find the GCF. And then looking at this part right here is much easier to factor. So let's go ahead and keep going. Leave the 3x alone because he's still part of the problem. But now I'm going to do my 2 parentheses. Okay, first question, how do I make x squared? Should be easy, x times x. Okay, now I'm thinking of 2 numbers that multiply to 6, and I can combine them to make 5. We need to be careful though, because notice my sign is negative. Remember, when c is negative, that means my signs are different. So let's list our factors of 6. 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Okay, we just said we need different signs. So I could have 1 and negative 6, or I could have negative 1 and positive 6. We have 2 and negative 3, or I could have negative 2 and 3. My goal is to get to a positive 5. So let's add them together. 1 plus negative 6 gives me a negative 5. Negative 1 plus 6, oh, that gives me a positive 5. So I'm going to say minus 1 plus 6. And this is your answer. That is completely factored. Okay? You try. Here's 2 problems. Please remember, pull out the GCF and then go ahead and reverse FOIL. Okay, pause the video and try those. Okay, letter A, 5x squared minus 35x plus 50. Okay, first rule again, factor out that GCF. I see 5 goes into all of those. So let's pull the 5 out. 5 times what gives me 5x squared? Well, it needs an x squared. 5 times what gives me negative 35x? Well, 5 times negative 7 gives me that 35. And I don't have any x's here, and I need one, so put an x with it. 5 times what gives me 50? 5 times 10. Okay, keep going. 2 sets of parentheses. Remember, bring that 5 down. Okay, how do I make x squared? X times x. Okay, and I need to do my factors of 10 that get me to 7, so I'm going to go ahead and list those. 1 and 10, 2 and 5. Okay, look at the signs. This tells me that signs are the same, and they're both negative. So negative 1, negative 10, negative 2, negative 5. Which one of these gets me to 7? The 2 and the 5. So minus 2, minus 5. And there's your answer. Okay, next one again, pulling out that GCF. What goes into 6x cubed, 30x squared, and 24x? Well, 6 goes into all of them. and they all have an x in common, so my GCF is 6x. If I get rid of that 6x, what do I have left? Well, 6 times 1, and if I take one of those x's away, I have 2 left, so x squared. Okay, 6 times what is 30? 6 times 5. And I took one of the x's away, I have 2, so I have 1 left. 6 times what gives me 24? 6 times 4, and I have 1x, and I took it away, so no more x's. So moving on, 2 sets of parentheses. Bring down that 6x again. How do I make x squared? X times x. Okay, let's list our factors of 4. Got to get to 5. So 1 times 4, 2 times 2. Check out my signs real quick. This one's positive, so they're the same, and they're both plus. Okay, so I don't got to change anything. 1 plus 4, oh, that gives me 5. So plus 4, or plus 1 plus 4. It doesn't matter what order you put them in. Okay, but there is your solution. Okay, so remember, always look for a GCF. Okay, next problem. 6x squared plus 11x plus 4. Do I have a GCF here? Well, does something go into 6, 11, and 4? It does not. Okay, so this is one where it's going to be a little bit harder. So let's go ahead and do our 2 sets of parentheses. But let's talk before we throw anything in. Okay, I got to make 6x squared. We're used to doing just x squared, which is x times x. Okay, so I know I can put an x and an x to start each set of parentheses. So how do I make that 6? Well, let's talk about our factors of 6. 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. Okay, so I have options in what to put in front of the x's. Okay, let's come back to that thought here now. Okay, I also have to make this 4. Last times last gives me the 4. So my factors are 4 are 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. Now, unlike the last problems, we can't say, okay, multiplies to 4 and makes 11, because we're going to get thrown off by these numbers out in front of the x's. So this is where we have to use some logic. Okay, when I do my insides and my outsides, I have to get a total of 11x. Okay, so this is a part where you're going to want a good eraser. You have to kind of figure out which one is going to work. So let's pick a number to start with. You can either start the 1 and the 6 or the 2 and the 3. Let's put the 1 and the 6 in there just for the heck of it. Okay, I'm going to do those in black. Okay, 1, 6. Okay, so now we pick a value for the 4. Do you want to do the 1 and the 4 or the 2 and the 2? Let's try the 1 and the 4. Okay, now we're going to use FOIL. Okay, the big things I'm concerned about are my insides and my outsides. So if I do my outsides, I get 4x. If I do my insides, I get 6x. Okay, if I add 6 and 4, do I get 11? I do not. So this combination does not work. Okay, this combination will not work. So let's erase. I'm going to start by flip-flopping the 1 and the 4. Okay, that might help me. Let's see. Okay, I had the 1 here, so let's put the 4 here and the 1 here. Okay, on your outsides, you're going to get 1x. Inside, you're going to get 24x. Is there any way those get you to 11? Absolutely not. Okay, this is where I think logic comes into help. I could look at that 1 and the 4, 6, the 4 and the 6, I'm like, that's going to be way too big. So I know it's not even worth it to try that combination. Okay, so looking at this, the 1 and the 6 definitely does not work with the 1 and the 4. So let's try the 2 and the 2. Put a 2 and 2. On the outside, I get 2. Inside, I get 12. The 2 and 12 make 24? Or make 11? Absolutely not. Okay, so do I need to flip-flop these? No, because it's the same number. So we know for sure the 1 and the 6 are what's causing us the issues. Okay, so you can actually go ahead and cross those out. I'm not going to use 1 and 6. So let's stick the 2 and the 3 in there. Okay, again, remember you want to get to 11. So let's try the 1 and the 4. The 1 here, 4 here. Okay, if I do my insides and my outsides, Outsides I get 8x. Insides I get 3x. Do 8 and 3 give you 11? Absolutely. So we have the right combination. So now we check out our signs. C is positive, so it means signs are the same. They're both plus. So my answer is 2x plus 1 times 3x plus 4. And I promise, the more you do of these, the easier it gets because you start thinking about strategically where to put things. Okay, so here's a couple to try. Please remember to pause the video and actually try these. You're going to get more out of it if you do it that way. Okay, so I'm going to start by looking for a GCF. 10, 17, and 3, not at all. Okay, so 10, we have 1 and 10, or 2 and 5. 3, oh, that's only 1 and 3. So this one's a little bit nicer because you have less combinations to try. So let's go ahead and do our 2 sets of parentheses. I'm going to go ahead and just stick that 1 and the 3 in there and not change them because those are going to be solid. There's only one combination, only one way there. So those don't move. And I don't need an X and an X. So let's think about what values we have here. Okay, I want to get to 17. So 1 and the 10 going to help me? Well, if I put the 10 at the outsides, I'm going to get 30. That does not help at all. If I put the 10 on the insides, I get 10 and 3. That gives me 13. So the 1 and the 10 really isn't helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and cross that guy off. So let's try the 2 and the 5. Okay, order matters. So let's try 2 here and a 5 here. What do I get on my outsides? 2 times 3 is 6. Insides, 1 times 5 is 5. So 5 and 6 get me to 17. Now it's only 11. So let's flip-flop those and see what happens. Okay, if I put the 5 here and the 2 here, outsides I get 15. Insides I get 2. 2 and 15 make 17? Absolutely. Here's the right combination. Check out our signs. C is positive, okay, and B is plus, so they both get a plus sign. 5x plus 1, 2x plus, excuse me. Okay, one more to do. 2x squared plus x minus 21. First things first, do you see a GCF? Absolutely not. Okay, so let's start listing our factors. Oh, there's only one way to make 2. 1 times 2. Again, yay, less combinations to try. And I make 21, 1 times 21, or 3 times 7. Again, I'm looking at this, I want to get to 1. Do you think that 1 and 21 is going to help you? Probably not. So I'm going to go ahead and cross that guy off because I think I'm not going to use him. Okay, 2 sets of parentheses. Okay, the 1 and the 2 aren't going to change. So I'm going to put a 1x and a 2x. Okay, we have 3 and 7. Let's try the 3 here, the 7 here. Insides and outsides. Outsides I get 7x. Insides I get 6x. Can I make 1 out of 7 and 6? Absolutely. Okay, if I subtract. So this is where the signs come into play. C is negative, which means my signs are different. One's plus, one's minus. Okay, I look here, I need a positive one. Okay, so 7 and 6, the bigger one gets the positive. 7's bigger, so I get the plus 7 minus 6. Okay, so I made the 7 with the 1 times the 7. So this is where the plus goes. And I made the 6 with the 2 and the 3, so that's where the minus goes. So my answer is x minus 3, 2x plus 7. Okay, let me think a second. Okay, here's just some more practice. Okay, so let's do a few more problems. The book listed something like solve by substitution. That method to me is super confusing, so we're just going to stick with the method I'm teaching you. Okay, so when you look at your homework tonight, the directions might say do it different ways. Don't worry about doing it different ways. Do it the way we have been. Okay, so let's list our factors. 3, there's only one way to make 3, 1 and 3. Very nice, again, because we have less options. Okay, 1 times 8 for 8, and 2 times 4. Okay, so 2 sets of parentheses. I know the 1 and the 3 aren't going to change, so those are going to be locked into place. Okay, so let's think about the 8. My goal is to get to 2. Do you think the 8's going to help me at all? Probably not, so I'm going to cross that guy off. So we're going to try the 2 and the 4. Stick a 2, stick a 4. Okay, check your insides and your outsides. Inside, or outsides, excuse me, I get 4x. Insides, I get 6x. Can I make 2 out of 6 and 4? I can if 1 is negative. So let's talk about our signs. This tells me signs are different, and the bigger number is going to get the negative. Okay, so what's bigger, 6 or 4? The 6 is. So I want the 6 to be negative and the 4 to be positive, because when I add negative 6 plus 4, I get negative 2. Okay, so I made the 6 here on the insides, the 2 and the 3. So this is where the negative goes. And I made the 4 on the outsides, so that's where the plus goes. Okay, that's how you do it. Okay, let's practice a few more. Again, pause the video and try these. It's going to make your life easier. Okay, 2x squared minus x minus 6. Only one way to make 2. It's nice. 6, 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Okay, so let's do our 2 sets of parentheses. The 1 and the 2 are going to be solid. I'm not going to change them. So let's talk about the 1 and the 6. Do you think 1 and 6 is going to help? Well, if I put 6 here, I'll get 12, and if I put 6 here, it won't help either. It'll be too big. So let's try the 2 and the 3. Here's another piece of advice for you. The 2 and the 3. I cannot have a GCF inside my parentheses. So I see the 2 here. I can't put a 2 with it, okay? Because that gives me a GCF and means I'm not factored completely. Okay, so GCFs can't go together. So that tells me the 2 has to go here and the 3 has to go here. Okay, so let's check it out. Outsides, I get 3x. Insides, I get 2x. Can I make 1 out of these? Absolutely, if 1 is negative. And right here tells me signs are different. The bigger number gets the negative. Okay, so which one of these is bigger? The 3 is bigger. So the 3 gets the negative and the 2 gets the positive. Okay, how did I make the 2? Here on the ends. Oh, I'm sorry, that should be a 4. Goodness gracious, I could still make 1 that way. Okay, so hang on. Backtrack, sorry guys. So this is why I missed class, so you guys could correct me. Yes, that should be a 4. I can absolutely make 1 out of 4 and 3 if 1's negative. Again, the bigger number has to be the negative, so the 4 is bigger, so it gets the negative and the 3 gets the positive. So I made the 4 here on the inside, so the negative goes here, positive goes there. Letter B again, pause it, try it. Okay, 10 only, so we have 1 and 10, or 2 and 5. Okay, 1, oh, there's only one way, 1 and 1. So I'm going to go ahead and do my 2 sets of parentheses. I know the 1 is not going to change. Okay, so my goal is to get to 3. Is the 1 and the 10 going to help me get to 3? Absolutely not. So I can cross out the 1 and the 10. So I know I can try a 2x and a 5x. Okay, and order doesn't matter here because these numbers are exactly the same. So let's do our insides and our outsides. Outside I get 2x, inside I get 5x. Okay, can I make 3 out of 2 and 5? Absolutely. 1 has to be negative though. And right here, this tells you signs are different. The bigger number gets the positive. So which one's bigger? Oh, the 5's bigger, so it gets the plus, and the 2 gets the minus. So I made the 5 here on the inside, so plus 5. And this was the negative, so there's where the negative goes. Okay, so this one takes a little bit more thought. Again, you want to have a good eraser beside you. Erasing will help. Okay, so again, remember, I will be able to tell if you are copying instead of actually doing your work. Okay, please make sure you take the time to really think these through and practice. Okay, tonight's homework is page 299. You're going to do problems 33 through 46. As always, if you have any questions, make sure you reach out to me. Hope you guys have a great day.